there's always that little bit of imposter syndrome of, is my product good enough? Is it just working for me because we want it to work, so we're going to think the best of it? Or does this actually work on a more universal level? And are people going to spend the money to continue to buy this product? There's definitely a lot of apprehension of starting a business and saying, I'm going to invest in all of the product and resources and the time to manufacture all of this and see if somebody actually wants to buy enough of it that I can go back and do more than just replenishing my raw materials. I can pay for myself, I can pay for my insurance. How far can I take this truly as a business, and how much of my personal income can I make from this business, or do I need to go and do other things on top of it?
Kill Complacency, a podcast that inspires growth and intentionality and helps you overcome your greatest obstacles.
So today I have Sara Golding with us, and Sara actually makes soap and sells soap, but she does a lot of coaching as well. And so I wanted her to come on and talk about soap business, but business in general, and kind of talk about how we make money in business, and that's with our margins. So Sara, could you kind of give us your backstory on how you got into soap, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started about 2014, 2015. I was making soap for my family. And like any good crafter knows, those things just take a life of its own. And you just start going from side hustle and hobbyist to all of a sudden you're in a full-blown business. I was a stay-at-home mom with my daughter, just looking for a part-time income, working at a farmer's market on Saturdays. I had really low expectations of what I was going to do with it. And by the end of the summer, I had started getting wholesale accounts. I had started growing a very distinct following of clients that were only using my soap. And in fact, 10 years later, I still have them reaching out to me for their soap every year. And it was just this great thing that really got me involved in a different side of business beyond the side that I had been to more formally before that.
And more formally, meaning your retail.
Correct. Yeah, my background is in retail finance and operations. So I was working on the East Coast out in the Washington, D.C. metro area. And I was working for a Fortune 500 company doing a lot of back-end operational for districts, 24 to 30 stores at a time, where we were looking at how do we become more profitable. And I learned a lot because it was during the 2007, 2008 market. And if you're old enough to remember the 2007, 2008 market, all of a sudden things just went sideways and you couldn't rely on good sales anymore. You had to start to learn the operational side and you had to learn how your margins were impacted by all of these different aspects of business. So back then I got a real good crash course in how to stay profitable in tough times, and it really came down to working the margins.
So when did you come to Oklahoma?
2016.
2016. So your soap business, you started that where?
I actually started that in Kansas. I've lived a lot of places, but I was in a small town in Kansas, had transferred to Virginia Beach, and then back out here to the Midwest in Oklahoma City, 2016, and I've been here ever since.
Now, I know that you said that you started making soap for your family.
Yes.
Tell us. I mean, my mind can anticipate the answer to that, but maybe you could tell me why. What was going on in your family that you decided you needed to make soap?
Well, I had, honestly, it was self-perseverance. I had family members with very sensitive skin, and if you have somebody in your family that can't just use any product off the shelf, it's always a challenge of go to the store, see what's available, bring it back home, see if it works. Good job if it does. And if not, you're back to the drawing board. And if it does, you don't always find it again at the store. It's discontinued. It was, I shopped at a different store and that store didn't carry it, and I don't want to take the time to go to store A to find it again. And it was just such a time-consuming part of my life every month trying to find just soap that worked. Stumbled across a farmer's market, and I was actually looking to buy local products for holiday gifts.
Okay.
And brought home some handcrafted bars of soap, and all of a sudden, that was it. That was what worked consistently. And I'm like, great. So now I'm like the meme where why spend $7 on it when I can buy it for $92 worth of craft supplies?
Yeah.
So I decided it's got to be easier and cheaper that I could just make my own. And made it for my family. It was great. Other people started taking notice, and they were like, oh, well, I've got sensitive skin too. Can I try some of that? And it just evolved organically from there.
Is it specifically bars of soap, or is it
Correct.
like for laundry as well?
I do bars of soap. Now, you can do laundry soap, and lots of other handcrafted makers do that. I'm all about the bars of soap. It's the old-fashioned cold process method that grandparents and great-grandparents have been making in their kitchen for centuries at this point. But it's a lot of fun because we've perfected the science of it, and it's a completely different just product now. If you've ever been to a farmer's market, you've probably seen all the different colors and artistic designs that they can put in. Some of them are making landscape designs. It's a whole art form beyond just being a utilitarian bar of soap.
Tell me, Sara, early on, so you make the bar for your family, and then you start selling it at farmer's market.
Correct.
Because you saw a need. What were some of your early doubts and fears? Because that's... And maybe it wasn't I feel like it's a big jump from this is for us versus we're going to see if we can make money on this. What were...
Absolutely. So there's always that little bit of imposter syndrome of, is my product good enough? Is it just working for me because, we want it to work, so we're going to think the best of it? Or does this actually work on a more universal level? And are people going to spend the money to continue to buy this product? Handcrafted soap, as amazing as what it is also a luxury product. Some of these bars of soap can be anywhere from $10 to $15 a bar, compared to I go to the grocery store and I can find, products there for
4 bars for whatever. Yeah.
So is there a market of enough people want to buy it and buy it continuously at a higher dollar price point? So there's definitely a lot of apprehension of starting a business and saying, I'm going to invest in all of the product and resources and the time to manufacture all of this and see if somebody actually wants to buy enough of it that I can go back and do more than just replenishing my raw materials. I can pay for myself. I can pay for my insurance. How far can I take this truly as a business? And how much of my personal income can I make from this business? Or do I need to go and do other things on top of it?
So talk to us a little bit, Sara, about that journey. Because, you're making a living from soap, basically, and making it. But how does somebody have an idea and take it to market and make it profitable?
So I would put that into 2 categories. One, you want to do the market research ahead of time. So just the basics of business of who are you going to sell it to? Who is your target customer? What does your price point look like for that customer? And this is what trips a lot of people up. They don't differentiate between, I have a customer in front of me and I'm going to make a product that suits that customer, versus I have a product that I want to make and I'm going to invest all these time and high-end materials, but I don't want to chase the customer that's going to actively purchase that. So a lot of people, not just in the handcrafted world, but in business, will sell themselves short, literally, because they're making this fantastic quality luxury product with all of these amazing components to it, but they're selling it at a bottom dollar because that's the customer that's right in front of them.
Okay.
That's the easiest way to do it. It's a lot easier to go into a farmer's market and look at the people that are right in front of you than to say, I want to market and grow an e-commerce business that's going to reach a high-end or a luxury client. So that's part one. And then part two, how do you create the margins off of your selling price and your cost of goods? What does the margin look like? Because the margin isn't just this difference between the two. The margin is what's going to pay you. And that's what you really want. How much are you going to get paid for your time and effort? Can you afford to pay for all of the other things that you need? So your business license, business insurance. Can you afford an income that not only pays yourself what you're worth, but also maybe sets aside for retirement? Sets aside for health insurance benefits, all of those other things, or are you just taking the bare scraps that come off the tail end of your business, hoping that it's enough?
Over the years, I have been coached by countless mentors, and now I want to offer that to you as well. How? By Marty Hofmann's Life Coaching. This will be a 6-week program in which I will guarantee you will develop a more growth mindset. We will set goals and learn about the importance of the processes and habits behind those goals. I will also help you see your story differently as things happening for you, not to you. We will also be discussing your future self and give you clarity on who that is and what it looks like. For more information, please follow the link below or hop on martyhoffman.com and follow the coaching link. Because of your background in retail, Sara, did you know all of that you just kind of said, or did you have to live that out and learn?
A little bit of both, probably I'd say about 80%, because I did have that background. I truly feel that knowledge is what has kept me successful and sustainable over the last 10 years. I think if I didn't have that background information, I probably would have done a lot more trial and error and floundering along the way. But just like everything else, there's so much that theory's going to give you before you actually have to put it into practice and go, oh, this isn't quite what I wanted it to do. Or even just the last 4 years after we came out of COVID, it's been such a roller coaster with the economy of this works, this doesn't. People's shopping habits have changed. People's priorities have changed. And how do you become adaptable with your own business to basically weather the storms of what else is out there? Just like in 2007, 2008, we had our own changes that we had to make to be able to be sustainable. We're seeing another iteration of that now, and 5 years from now, it'll be something different. That's the fun part of entrepreneurship. You never know what's going to happen in the future, and you can stay so adaptable and make your business whatever you want. You're not tied into some corporate structure that you have to do it the same way over and over again. You can make all the decisions that are going to benefit you as a small business owner.
Yeah, that's good. So, I mean, we all know it, Sara, the magic's in the margins. But what you just talked about is really profound in regard, and it's really what keeps people in business or not, right?
Absolutely.
And a lot of it, I would say, is psychological, right? We don't think that our widget, our bar soap, or whatever it is worth this to the end buyer. So how do you determine that? Is it a matter of lifestyle? This is lifestyle I want to have, and therefore I need to make this margin? Or is it just market research? This item should sell for X amount. I mean, how does a person have an item and then create the margin, identify the margin, I guess?
So I think you hit on something very specific, which is the lifestyle. As a small business owner, as an entrepreneur, what is the lifestyle that you want? And then put a dollar amount to that. If it's $50,000, if it's $100,000, if it's $1 million, whatever that lifestyle is, that gives you the baseline. From there, you can work back. I work with a lot of my clients using value ladders.
Okay.
So if you've got offer A, offer B, and offer C, break those down into what's realistic for income to come off of those. How close does that get you to your top goal, to that lifestyle number that you're looking for. And if you're not making it, which of those value ladders do you want to invest additional time and resources in to make up that difference? So I can take each of those value ladders and start to break that down even further into, well, let's say I need to make X amount in soap. How many bars of soap does that equate to at $5 a bar versus $10 a bar? What's realistic for the consumer that I'm in front of? Do I need to expand into different markets like e-commerce or wholesale? And can I afford to create that bar of soap at that price point based off of what my cost of goods is? So we take this really big number and then we just start to funnel it down. And that helps us establish a baseline, but it also helps us eliminate some of that decision fatigue of we've got this huge thing we're trying to figure out. Well, now we've got these very small steps that we know if we do them repeatedly and we focus on those tiny little things, it's going to add up at the end to this really big number that we're looking for.
Do you think that people get stuck with, rather than looking at the lifestyle, maybe they say, well, I just want to sell wholesale. And maybe I guess I'm directing it to a personality. They say my personality is such that I don't want to deal with people. I want to sell 25 of these at a time. Versus the retail side is more, or the farmer's market is more one-on-one.
Yes.
And e-commerce is more retail, but a different. Here's my question. So with that my question is do you think that people get stuck on their personality on that versus looking at the lifestyle and what's going to drive it? Or do they keep the lifestyle in mind and say, if I'm going to wholesale these, I've got to do 2 times the volume versus retail or whatever the number is?
I think some people do recognize either their opportunities or their strengths. You definitely tell walking around in-person market who your extroverts are because they are out there, they're laughing, they're having fun, they're the booths that everybody has a crowd around because they want to see what's going on. And I see a lot of more the introverted, very logical sort of person being more attracted to wholesale because they can deal with a smaller amount of clients, but they can have a more intimate relationship because now they're catering to one client that's going to buy 100 products versus 100 clients that are only going to buy one product. So it's definitely a thing to take into consideration of what do you feel most comfortable with. And then taking that back to that's part of your lifestyle. If your lifestyle is I'm an introvert and I don't want to be out in those crowds every single week, that's going to cause distress. It's going to cause fatigue. It's going to just really make you not enjoy the lifestyle that you've created. And you're constantly going to be burnt out on that back end. And there's really no amount of money you can make that's going to make it okay for you to continue that lifestyle. So if you don't have that alignment, you're definitely going to feel it. Yeah.
If you want to wear a billboard of a message of kill complacency or live intentionally, then check out my merch store. It's www.mindsetshop.com. Mindset is with an X, so it's MINDXET shop, SHOP.com. Mindsetshop.com. And that's why you kind of have different ladders, right? Like
exactly.
Ladder 1, ladder 2, ladder 3. Which one are we going to climb?
Exactly. You can always, it's like they say to keep that portfolio diverse. If you're investing, you want to do the same thing with your business. You should have multiple revenue streams. You should have multiple areas that you're involved in. But that doesn't mean you have to be equal across the board with what your involvement looks like. Yeah.
I'm in the real estate space. We flip houses, but we also have rent houses. But same thing, like we could. We don't just have rent houses, like we flip, but sometimes we rent on a lease option, meaning we still own it, but they can't get traditional financing.
Sure.
But yeah, we have these different ladders, and it's kind of more work it is more work for us because we can't niche down into one, but it allows us, to your point, diversification, so that when interest rates are high, we can pivot to this one. Interest rates are low, we can pivot to this. So yeah, I totally see what you're saying there.
Absolutely. Yeah, you want to make sure you've got all of your bases covered to make things easier on you too. Like you said, some of it's going to turn into passive income where you don't actively have to be out flipping the house every single day. You can take some of that and be like, okay, we've got the loan coming in over here. We've got the payment. Yeah. The renters are in, so we've got that consistent income every month. Absolutely.
Yeah. What are some holdups you see people have as they start the entrepreneurship?
Definitely not valuing their work and not pricing accordingly. I think over the last 10 years, I've been involved in a lot of community groups, community forums. I'm on the board of directors for our National Trade Association. And over, I see comments of, well, I'm new, I can't charge ABC.
It's so true.
Right? And it's not that they can't, it's that they don't have the confidence that they can or that they should. They feel like part of the value of what they have to offer, whether it's a product or a service, they don't feel they're giving that value because they don't have the experience behind them or a resume behind them. And that's not what customers and clients are really looking for. What they're looking for is that end result. And it doesn't matter if you've got the college degree or the 10 years of experience. They just want to see that that end result is going to make them happy and it's going to align with what they needed. And I think if you can work through that up front, you're going to give your business that jump start. Yeah. That's going to separate you from the rest of the newly started entrepreneurs, and you're going to be more successful quicker, which is going to help you stay sustainable for longer.
That would definitely, to be vulnerable, that would definitely be something I struggle with because I've done different things and it's always that. It's like, well, I'm starting off, so it's a cheaper product. Last year, our kids are homeschooled, and I taught a class called Entrepreneurship. But at the end of the first semester, they had like a Christmas sale. And I made all these kids, high school kids, come up with a concept and create a product and then sell it at this store. And that was the thing. Like because the week after, then we broke it down and I said, okay, now guys, I mean, you would have loved it, Sarah. I said, all right, now how much were you going to make on that? I mean, you were selling these stickers for 10 cents. Yeah. Or you were selling these wood sticks for $40. But how much time did you take to make that a wood stick? Or take those stickers? I mean, I know you covered your cost of product. Yep. But what was your time worth? And what was your delivery? I mean, you had to deliver that. What did that cost you? So, and then maybe circling back to your magic in the margins, maybe they covered their labor and their material, but they can't stay in business. Correct. Right? And so we have to create those margins that make us so that when good times are good, we're good. And when times are bad, we're good.
Exactly.
I just wanted to thank you guys for listening to the end. In closing, I just wanted to add that if this message resonates with you, if it aligns with your values and something in it today triggered something, then you can also look me up on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. We are really trying to help people live more intentional lives to kill the complacency with which they have subscribed to. I know there's many ways which I get sucked in all the time. So if this is beneficial, follow me there.